Hello fabulous people and welcome to my channel. My name's Lynn and this is So Lindy Lou. I've got a slightly different style of vlog for you this week. I'm going to share with you what I've made this week, which isn't a huge amount. It was my birthday this week, so I've had lots of going out for lunches and dinners, so I haven't had too much sewing time, but I have made one thing and I've cut out one thing, so I'll give you an update on those. And I've also been very lucky to have some gorgeous sewing related birthday gifts, so I'm going to show you those. So it'll be quite a short vlog, I think, today. Before I get started, I just want to give a big shout out to Sue, and Sue is also known as Sue Far, Sue Good. She sent me a lovely birthday tip on Ko-fi, so thank you so much for that, Sue. I shall definitely treat myself to a cup of coffee or probably a gin and tonic maybe. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So I'll start with what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing anything I've made on the top half. You'll see why I've put this on, because it goes with what I've made at the bottom. So let me just move my chair out of the way. So I've just finished this pair of Swimstyle Cara pants, and they're made in a stretch, what would you call it? Yeah, stretch jersey, and it's got the, I can't think of the word for it. Why can I not think of words today? It's got the ridges in it. I can't think what it's called, but you know what I mean. So these are a really lovely pair of lounge pants. They have got a waistband, they have got elastic in the waistband, and then I made this drawstring out of the fabric as well. So it's a really nice fit on the waist. You won't be able to see full length, so I shall just pop a picture in for you, but they are, let me see if I can get my leg up that high. They've got quite a wide leg on them, so they're a really comfortable pair of lounge pants, and I'm really pleased with them. So I thought I'd put this jumper on, which is one of my favourites because of course it's bright red, which happens to be my favourite colour, and it's got animal print on it, and it went with the bottom half, because I don't have many things actually with that colour on, but I made them as a bit of a neutral for my wardrobe because it does go with lots of the different colours I have. But I thought I'd just put this on for the video to go with my lovely red lipstick. So there we go. I think, I'm just trying to think where I had this jumper from. I think it was from an independent shop. It was, yeah, there's a lovely shop in Stratford-upon-Avon called Vinegar Hill, and I'm pretty sure that's where I had it from. They have some gorgeous things in there, so I do often pop in, and I tend to only now buy things that I can't make or won't make, you know, if it's something that is a very specific type of tricky fabric, or if it's a design like this, it's a knitted jumper and it's a very fine knit. I can knit, but obviously not this fine, with you'd need to do that on a machine. So yeah, so that's what I'm wearing it with. But the Karla pants were great. They were really easy to make, and I was chatting about them actually on a sewing social that was on this week. It was with the lovely Hayley, which is called Thready Set Go, and we were talking about the different styles of trousers or pants, lounge pants, etc. And the way the waistband was done in these was a little bit different to how I've done it before, because the waistband is very similar to the saguaro pants that I made previously, but the construction is different. And I thought, well, I will follow their instructions and just see how it works. What they recommended doing was actually making up the waistband separately, so putting the elastic in and sewing the waistband together, and then you just apply the waistband onto the trousers. And that was actually quite a good method, because what that meant was I could step into the waistband and just check before I completely closed it up that the elastic was the right fit. And it was, you know, I didn't want them too tight, because I did that in my saguaros actually. I think I've made them a bit tight having worn them. But these feel really comfortable because they're lounge pants. I thought they're the kind of thing I might want to put on when I get home from being out and about, and I want to put them on and just sit comfortably on the sofa and watch some TV. I don't necessarily always want to sit in jeans because I can get a little bit uncomfortable. Now most often I'm pretty happy putting my dressing gown on as early as you like, especially in the winter when it gets dark. But sometimes you just don't want to put your dressing gown on because you might be expecting someone to pop round. So, you know, putting on a pair of lovely comfortable lounge pants is what I wanted. So now I've made these, I will definitely be making more. It's a really lovely pattern. The only thing I would change for next time actually is they don't have pockets in the pattern, and I didn't think about it as I was making them. Again, I made them largely on Sewing Socials, so I just got on and sewed, and I think I made the lion's share of them in one Sewing Social. So obviously you're not sewing as fast as you would if you were just sitting sewing and not chatting, because I do like to chat, as you will well know. And so I made the trousers up themselves on a Sewing Social, and then I just had the waistband and the hemming to finish off. So I did hand stitch the hem, which, as you'll probably know if you've watched me before, I don't really like hand stitching because I don't think I'm particularly good at it, but I did do it on these because of the type of fabric. I just thought it might not look right if I machine stitched, and I don't have a cover stitch machine, which would have been perfect in this scenario, but I just hand stitched them around the bottom just to give it a nice neat finish. I will also pop in a picture of the label, because I did pop a label in the back, and I was a bit lazy. I didn't change the thread on my overlocker from when I made my Lucy dress, so it's got bright pink overlocking, and I just changed the needle colour to a colour that was the same sort of shade as the fabric. So the rest of it I quite like actually, because when you look inside it's got the bright pink down the seams, which I love. So I will show you the label that I popped in, and I will pop the picture in, as I say, as well, so you can see what they look like full length. I think Dottie and Lola make an appearance on some of the pictures too. My daughter was trying to take the photo and they just kept wanting to get in on the act, so you'll see those on the photograph as well. So let me show you what I had. I was so lucky. I had lots of these things were from my lovely husband Nige and my daughter Gracie. I'm really lucky, and I had a few things from friends as well, because they know I sew too. So I'll show you those, and I've got a few sort of crafting related things that are not directly related to sewing, but I think you'll like them as well, so I will show you. So the first couple of things, we actually went, you might remember me saying on my last video, if you watched that, that I was going to be going out on Saturday, last Saturday, and my birthday fell on the Tuesday. Obviously a lot of people are at work on Tuesday, so we went out. We were going to be going out for a meal on Saturday afternoon with my parents and my brother and his wife, but that didn't happen because everybody was ill. My brother had a horrible cold, so we didn't want to pass that on, and my mum wasn't feeling very well on that day either, so she couldn't come. So we ended up going down to Broadway, which is beautiful. Broadway's in the Cotswolds, for those of you that don't know, and for those of you who are not based in the UK, it's the typical kind of chocolate box appearance of England. It's got the beautiful black and white thatched houses and the Cotswold stone buildings. It is just glorious. So we went there. We didn't take any photographs, actually. I realised we were enjoying ourselves so much we didn't take any photos, but the reason we went there is they've got a small sewing shop. It's largely knitting, actually. It's only tiny, and they did have a few sewing related things, so my daughter treated me to these. So I've got this little tin that says love sewing, and it's got the sewing machine on it, and what I've popped inside, oh, if I can open it, put the other thing down, I've got a Merchant and Mills needle and pin keeper. It's a magnet, so I just popped the magnet inside, and I thought that's quite useful for when I'm going to Sewing Socials and sewing class to take it with me, because I often forget to take my pins. I use a lot of clips actually, so I don't always have my pins with me because I normally have them on display. I've got one of those lovely Liberty pairs that I pop them in, and I've got another Liberty teacup as well that a friend bought me, so I tend to use those and forget and leave them at home. She also bought me this, which it's a little button. It's got a magnet on the back. I thought this was a needle keeper actually, but it isn't. It's just a magnetic badge, and it says, "Mum, you're so special to me," which is lovely. So I shall find somewhere to put that in my sewing room, hopefully my new sewing room if we happen to move. They then bought me a few little bits and pieces, so I'd asked for some more clips because some of mine break and they don't last a huge amount of time. So they bought me a little bag of clips from Carolyn Rose. They bought me a buttonhole chisel, which I've always fancied. This one is a Clover one, which I'd asked for. I like that one with the white handle. There's always that worry, isn't there, if you use your unpicker to do the buttonhole, even if you put the needle, sorry, not needle, the pin across the top, there's always that risk that you'll catch the fabric and make a hole in it. So I need to make something with buttonholes so I can actually use my lovely buttonhole chisel. And they also bought me, I've got quite a few seam gauges, but they're all metal, and where I've put them in my bag and then taken them back and forth to sewing classes and socials, they've ended up getting really bent. So I'd asked for this Clover seam gauge, being plastic. I thought that one, I don't know, it might break in my bag, but I'll try and look after this one. So I had that as well, so hopefully that'll be another useful tool. So that was all of the tools that I got bought. And then my daughter knows me really well. I didn't ask for this because the other bits I put on a list because they'd asked me what I wanted, but she chose this for me, which is an Emma Bridgewater tin. And if you've been following me for a while, you might have seen me drink from a mug. She bought me a mug with this same pattern on it, and it's got mum on it as well. So this has just got, it says things like pins and needles and scissors written all the way around it, and then it's just a nice size. Oh, that's the back. It's just a box, so it's got some fold line bits and pieces in there because I think they must have bought some of those other bits from the fold line. So I'll perhaps keep my seam gauge in there so it doesn't get broken. So that's a really good gift because I've got a thing about boxes and pouches, and I always have had right from being at school. I always used to love pencil cases and pencil tins that you could scratch your name on with your what were they called, with the, is it a not protractor, you know, the thing that you draw circles with, I can't think what it's called, but I used to scratch with the end of that and write my name and, you know, people you fancied names on the tins. So I've always loved tins and boxes, so that was a really good gift. And then my lovely friend Caroline bought me this jigsaw, and it is of a beautiful sewing shop. It's called Stitch by Stitch, and it's a beautiful, really brightly coloured jigsaw. So I will definitely enjoy doing that and seeing the picture come together. And then this present was from my lovely friend Jeannie, and she came over on my birthday actually and spent Tuesday with me. We had a crafting day together, and she is a brilliant crochet, she's brilliant crocheter, brilliant at crochet, I'll say that, that's grammatically correct. So yeah, she does the most beautiful crochet, and she also does scrapbooking. So she brought over some of her crafts to do, and I spent the day tracing out my Lyra pattern from Tilley and the Buttons, because that's going to be my next make. It's kind of jumped up the list, and I'll tell you the reason why in a minute or two as to why that's jumped up the list. So I traced out that pattern. I've never made it before. I'm not a particular fan of tracing out. It's a bit, I just want to get to the sewing part, so that's, you know, it takes quite a bit of time, and there are quite a lot of bits and pieces to the Lyra pattern, so I diligently traced them all out whilst she was doing her scrapbooking, and she made me the most gorgeous, she'd already made me this one actually, the lily. She made me this beautiful orchid, and she made that because she heard me talking about the lovely Lucy dress I made with the gorgeous fabric from Fabric Obsession that had the cats on it, and the lovely orchids, and I'd said that's one of my favourite flowers. So she crocheted this beautiful orchid, and I've got it in a lovely vase, and it sits on a shoe cupboard in my hallway, so it's beautiful. I thought I would show you that because I thought you would appreciate it, being crafty types. And then the pièce de résistance, let me just share this with you. I opened this gift from Nigel and Grace, and I was thinking, what on earth is in this box? I've no idea. And I opened it, and look what is written on the lid. Very exciting. It's got Liberty on there. And I opened it up, and it's this beautiful fabric. I was thinking, oh, that's really lovely, but it's a little bit lighter than I would normally go for. And then I realised it was inside out. They probably package it that way to protect the fabric. So let me just find the end and open out the fabric and just show you. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's the Ianthe pattern. It's a very classic Liberty print, and it's got all the beautiful colours that I love in it. Obviously the bright red, it's got lots of blues. You see me wearing lots of blues. It's got greens in there, all my favourite colours. So, and there is 3 meters of that fabric. So I'd got in mind, because I did ask for some Liberty fabric, and I gave them a bit of a short list of ones that I liked, just in case they were, you know, somewhere out of stock. So I did put it on my list, but I didn't think I would get it, because as we know, Liberty fabric is pretty expensive, and Nigel had already bought me tickets to go and see Texas at Warwick Castle, which was amazing, as my main birthday present. So I thought I will probably just buy me some little bits and pieces, and we're going out for dinner as well, and had a takeaway on my actual birthday. No, that wasn't, sorry, that was on the Saturday. Then we went for dinner on my birthday, for a lovely Thai meal. So I didn't expect to get that. So I was overwhelmed really when I opened it and saw that gorgeous Liberty fabric, and that's my favourite fabric, I have to say. So I was really delighted. But what I'm going to be making with that, I'd seen somebody ages ago make make the Liberty fabric in that pattern up in a shirt dress, and I'd already, as I've mentioned on previous videos, I'd already talked about making the Lyra dress. I'd had it in my stash for a while and hadn't got around to making it. So the fabric that I showed you on my plans video, which is just a piece of viscose, I'm going to make it up in that first of all as a bit of a wearable toile. Hopefully it will go well, because it's not a huge amount of fitting in a shirt dress. Obviously you want to get the bust fitting correctly, but there's a belt that goes around the waist, so the waist doesn't need to fit snugly. It just needs to be a good enough fit that when you pull it in with the belt, there's not too much fabric, and obviously the hips, it will flow out over the hips with the style of the Lyra dress. So that's why I traced out the Lyra pattern, and I've now already cut out my fabric. I'll put a photograph in to remind you of the fabric attached to a couple of the pattern pieces so that you can see what I'm making, and that's the next one on my list. So yes, I didn't make a huge amount this week. I just made the Swimstyle Cara pants, and next on my list is the Lyra, and I have been lucky enough to be chosen to do a pattern test. I won't say much about it because I'm not sure what I can share, so I don't want to say too much that I shouldn't be saying at this stage, but I have got a pattern test which I've got to get in for later in October, so that will be next, as well as the Lyra. I'll probably be working on the two things sort of around the same sort of time. So those are the next things on my list. I was going to be making the Chardon skirt next, in that lovely leopard print denim, but that's dropped down the list now, and the Lyra has trumped it because I really want to make the wearable toile so that I can make the shirt dress, if I like it, in this gorgeous Liberty fabric. So I'm really looking forward to making that. It's a very delicate sort of Tana lawn, so hopefully it will work in that fabric. Obviously it'll be a bit lightweight for this time of year, but that's fine. I'll put a cardigan over the top and still wear it because I love it. So I'm very lucky. I was very spoilt by my friends and my family. I had lots of other lovely gifts as well. From my mum and my dad. Actually, I had some money, and I've had some gift vouchers, so I'll probably be buying some more fabric with those as well. So as and when I make some choices, I will show you what I've bought. But that's about it for this week, so it's going to be a shorter video. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I think it might be a bit rainy in the UK this weekend, so I hope you managed to dodge the showers. We're actually going up to the beach this weekend, up to my dad's up in Mablethorpe. So yeah, I don't know whether we'll get a chance to go out on the beach, but usually even when it's bad weather, we've always managed to still get out and go on the beach for a little while. So really looking forward to that, and a nice break up by the seaside and spend time with Dad and Sue. So that will be absolutely lovely. So I will catch you next week, and I will update you on how I'm getting on with the Lyra, and I'll update you on the pattern test if I'm able to. And other than that, I will share anything else that comes into the sewing room. So have a fabulous weekend. Enjoy your sewing. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because that really helps other people to find the channel that like similar videos to you. And I will catch you next time. Take care. Bye.